financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is solving debt with Chapter 13 and debt resolution. Brian Small, good morning.
Good morning. A fascinating topic for today.
I believe you. Jeffrey Linden, good morning.
Good morning, Ken.
Pat Samasco, how are you?
Good. How are
Okay,
ya?
so let's get to it. What are the basics, Brian, of Chapter 13? What is it? Chapter 13 is like the chapter that comes after
I
12
knew
and
it.
before 14?
I knew it. Your New Year resolution lasted 1 week. Talk more about elder law. In the second week, and you already dropped the ball.
But you know, we can talk about elder law in the midst of Chapter 13.
I dropped the ball 45 seconds into the show.
Yes.
Pat, what's new in elder law?
Everything. It's a fantastic topic. We should only spend all of our shows talking about that.
Okay,
I
but
agree.
next we'll
Brian,
talk about it.
Tell me about Chapter 13.
All right, so Chapter 13, not to laugh, but there
I'm
is
so
a Chapter
sad about my
12.
resolution.
There is a Chapter 12, but that's for family farmers and commercial fishermen. Chapter 13 is reorganization for individuals. It allows them to restructure their debt, pay what they can afford, and eliminate that which they don't have to, doesn't get paid.
So when you do a Chapter 13 versus a Chapter 7,
Chapter
you just
7
pick your number, whichever number you like?
Wouldn't that be great? No, a Chapter 13 is based on if you have excess income over your allowed expenses. So expenses such as your mortgage payment, your electric bill, gas bill, water bill, things like that. Is there money left over after you pay your regular household expenses? If there's a sum of money available, now you look at Chapter 13 because there's money that could go towards your credit.
Well, can I just do a Chapter 7 and get rid of it?
If you have too much leftover money, the answer is no.
Okay, what about if my house is in foreclosure?
So your house being in foreclosure at Chapter 7 will eliminate the debt and will walk you away from the house. But if you want to keep your house,
Well, of course I want to keep my house.
well, not everybody does, but those people that want to keep their home, Chapter 13 will allow you to restructure the debt, force the creditor to accept the arrears that is accrued, so you fell behind in your house, and it gives you up to 5 years
What if
to
I have
catch
equity
up.
in the house?
If you have equity in the house, Chapter 13 also is a solution. It lets you keep your house and restructure your debt. The whole concept is looking at what you own and what you owe and figuring out what's the least costly, most effective method to get you out of that debt.
All right, so Chapter 13, what about car? I've got a really high car payment. How does that work in a Chapter 13? Because, car payments now are, it's not uncommon to have an $800 a month car payment.
It's not, but we can...
Unless you follow the 3-point retirement plan, which says own your home free and clear, have zero debt, and have some cash in the bank.
So for those people that live in reality and have car payments, we often can reduce the interest rate, or if you've fallen behind on the car, because an $800 car payment does lead to an awful lot of defaults, we can actually restructure that debt, pay it off over 5 years. We can sometimes lower the amount that you owe to the fair market value of the car. That's called a cram down. We have a lot of opportunity. We can utilize the money that you have coming in to catch up on the arrears on your house, your past due property taxes on the house, keep the car, and pay Visa and MasterCard nothing all at the same time.
Question for any one of us. Not off the topic, but is there a rule of thumb in your mind? You're our budget management guru,
Right?
If you make $100,000 a year and you have 2 kids, family income, what is the
You're pretty close to still qualifying for a Chapter 7.
What's the reasonable amount that you should pay for a car payment and not exceed? You got 2 cars.
Well,
You
that's
know,
a tough one.
the reality
In
is
today's
we're
world.
still trying to get people to keep their car payments below $500. It's getting harder and harder and
I would
harder
say
to do.
that number was about 350 5 years ago. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's 500?
Yeah. Because you
And that's
can't.
hard to do
it-
today
you know,
with interest rates where
We're
they
talking
are
about
and everything.
people that are financing cars at 17 to 25% interest quite often, and then they're financing them out over 84 months.
Okay, so
you
you-
watch. I'm going to tell you the next
84
thing you're going
months.
to. Yeah, you're going to tell you the next thing you're going to start to see the 96-month car payment. It's going to happen.
Will the cars last that long?
Cars will
And
not.
you get what? You get a
you-
36-month warranty.
The car will,
you know
the
what?
warranty won't.
Cars are tending to last. The average car on the road is 12 years old right now, I believe.
Is that what they do? They turn it back in and then they roll the unpaid debt onto the next
Well,
car
that
or the next
happens
car?
quite
Yeah.
often too. Negative equity gets rolled into cars.
So all of a sudden you got a $1,500 car payment.
Yep, see it all the time.
So
Got to stop the bleeding.
Have you guys been seeing the second mortgages when people buy the house? They buy the house, they get the first mortgage and they get the second mortgage to pay the down payment, like they did
oh,
before.
the jumbos.
Yeah,
That was a very popular event
before 08.
before '08. It was also pretty it's becoming somewhat
Is it coming
out there
back?
again. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
It's not a good thing.
No.
But that's going to create the possibility, if we end up with a real estate crisis where values go down, of lien stripping out those second mortgages.
Yes, but I don't. At the moment, everybody was so
Values
afraid
aren't going down.
that values are going to go down. Values have adjusted down a little bit in some areas of the country,
haven't
but for
seen
the
it.
most part, they're really flat.
They don't
more
go
than
down
anything.
because people aren't selling.
Right.
Right. That's a
'cause-
very, very astute observation.
It's still a buyer's market. I mean, a seller's market out there, man. The houses are closing like crazy.
Yeah. It's very. There's
There
a
just
very
aren't
low
any
inventory of
houses to buy.
Yeah,
at the
that's
same
the
time.
People people who don't own them and the people who own them free and clear don't want to take an 8% mortgage on
Right.
anything new. People who have a 3% mortgage or something around there don't want to refinance or can't afford, don't want to get the new
I-
house at 8% when they have 2
I
or
think you're not
3%.
going to see the market start to move on that until interest rates come back down in the 4.5% to 5% range.
Yeah,
Then
I
people
agree.
will go, it's just a little bit more, and then they'll start selling.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of factors in there. There's like, I don't want to sell my house. My wife would like to downsize. I'm saying, why downsize? You're going to downsize to a house that's going to cost as much as your current house. And you're going to pay more taxes because you lose the cap. In Michigan, I've got a cap going back 32 years. Why give that up? Take a break. We'll come back and stay on it.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
I was married for 57 years before my husband died.
Simasco Law had established a trust for them before this happened.
There's so much to do in the beginning, but after about a month, you're kind of alone.
We deal with estate planning and trusts every day.
If you continue to have good support and know that your finances and your estate is in order, that's one thing that's so comforting. I would just highly recommend Simasco Law.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Yeah, so back on the house issue is, you go and if you're capped in Michigan, I don't know, every state's not the same, but in Michigan, if you've been in your house for 15, 20 years or for 30 years like I have been, my tax rate is very low because of the cap. If I sell the house and buy a smaller house, it's going to cost the same amount of money as what I sold the house for, but my taxes are going to triple. So why do it? And my wife says, because I want a smaller house. I'm saying,
Live in that part of the house.
that's what we do. With the dog, we've got
You
little
can't
gates
come
up.
past this line. This is the line.
You have to open the gate to get into the great room.
The big thing
Like the
is, where do you,
Maginot Line.
where do you
Yes.
put all the crap?
Do not cross.
All the stuff that's in that house, where the hell do you...
You got to get rid of it.
Oh, what a nightmare. What
I mean, we don't have a
absolute
lot.
nightmare.
We're not savers. I would say in the basement we don't have stuff stored up from 20, 30 years. But you still, if you downsize, you got to get rid of a ton of furniture and everything else.
Right.
And there's no market for it. Nobody wants it.
This
It's
is
tough.
true.
All right, so so you got chapter 13 going there. What about how does debt resolution fit into the puzzle?
Yeah,
All right, so
Brian.
what is debt
Yeah,
resolution?
Brian.
So
How
let's
does debt
compare.
resolution do it?
Chapter 13 is a 3 to 5 year program where you're restructuring your debt. The goal is to pay as little of the debt as is humanly possible back over that period of time. Debt resolution, what others might consider debt settlement, but our program differs considerably because we look at debt resolution to work in 18 to 24 months versus the 4 years or 5 years now that debt settlement companies are working on. So,
The little point I've noticed on commercials, debt settlement companies now are saying 24 to 48 months. Why are they saying that? Because they must feel vulnerable because a THAV gross is always
Oh,
been
there you go.
18 to 24 months. So they must pick.
yeah,
they
but
must
when
have
you
picked up on that.
really pick up and
None
you,
of them can
you
settle
call
the
them,
debt
they're
in
really
24
talking
months.
about a 4 to 5 year program
Yeah.
now because interest rates have gotten so high on credit cards. In fact, I was just reading that interest rates have gone up from a high in 2022 of 16.2% to a high of over 22% in 2023.
Take that. Let's interject a little political issue. They're saying that Biden's big problem is that the perception of the economy is so poor and he's getting such bad grades on the economy. Meanwhile, inflation has come down, unemployment is at an all-time low, and the excess deficit that really occurred in the prior administration, particularly because of COVID. So I'm not blaming the prior administration, but it is what it is. But why are people so down on the economy? Because their credit cards are up to 25%. They're hemorrhaging on that issue. They went through that bad inflationary period and while that inflation period was going on, they had used up the money they had saved from COVID. And now all of a sudden they saw their paychecks going to pay their bills. They have no savings and the credit card interest rates jumped up. So they're blaming the Biden administration for doing that and they're looking at it saying the economy is miserable. The truth of the matter is the economy is not that miserable, but their particular finances are because of the credit card debt.
Well, remember what happened when...
Their solution is what?
Well, when COVID hit...
What's their solution?
Call Brian.
I don't know. You tell me.
Get rid of the blankety-blank credit card
Oh,
debt.
there's not... I thought you meant what the
No,
Republican
get rid of the credit
solution
card
was.
debt and you'll love the economy.
Yeah, but the reality is we were down to $700 billion with the credit card debt. And now we're going to be at $1.1 trillion this year of credit card debt. That's in the space of 2 years? That's an amazing amount of debt. And now nobody
That's
sits there.
1.1 trillion at 25% interest.
Yeah. Now, forget about 1.1 trillion. Look at your own individual wallet. Look at your own individual credit card debt. Are you better off today than you were 2 years ago, debt-wise? And for the majority of people, the answer is no. They're not. Their interest rates are higher. Their car loans are higher. Their
student
debt service
and they
is
have
higher.
to now
They
pay
have to
their
pay
student
student
loans.
loans that haven't had to be paid in almost 3 years.
But is that because of the economy?
No, yes and no. It's because of the fact that people still do not know how to live within their means, and when you raise up interest rates and people still have the wants without having the means, debt gets created.
To me, the fallacy is that when you walked out of the COVID era, okay, all of a sudden you wanted to spend money again. You did. You ran up the credit cards. The interest rates did go up, and the interest rates went up because of all this excess cash that was in the economy. But now things are starting to settle back down. Employment is in a good state of affairs. Your solution, a change of administration is not going to solve your personal financial problem.
No, we have to
The
look at
solution is you've got to get rid of the credit card debt.
opportunity with debt resolution exists to settle your debts for less than what you owe. The average settlement being between 40 and 45 cents on the dollar. Those national companies are talking that they settle between 50 and 70 cents on the dollar. And then they charge you between 15 and 25% of the
You're
debt.
not saving nothing.
You're not saving anything. All you're doing is moving debt chairs on the Titanic with those national companies.
Let me ask you a couple questions. We'll do it. We're coming up to a break, but I want you to tell you, how do you go about doing that? And let me tell you the two questions that every single client asks. What's this going to do to my credit score? And will I be able to have a credit card if I'm doing debt resolution?
These are really good questions. You know what? When we come back from the break, I will answer them.
I look forward to that.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Pat was recommended by a friend who insisted that we really needed a trust. And he said, I know somebody who will do a good job for you.
At Samasco Law, we deal with estate planning and trusts every day.
We had excellent service from Samasco Law. Any questions we had were addressed. Our estate is in order and it had been set up so well that nothing needed to be done. I would just highly recommend Samasco Law.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Time for announcements. Oh, when I announced we've opened, THAV GROSS has opened a new office downriver in the Horizon building on Eureka Road. So now we're in Flint, downriver, and also our home office in Bingham Farms. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. You can do it by Zoom conference, in the office, any way that works best for you. Just call 888-235-HELP or go to the website thavgross.com to sign up. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business law issues, elder law issues with Pat or Kelsey, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner. Again, sign up at lawandreality.com or thavgross.com or just call 888-235-HELP. Also, if you go to the website, you'll see there's free reports. Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by Jeff Linden and myself. Bankruptcy, Is It Right for Me by Brian Small. How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure. Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan. And The Retiree's Guide to Social Security by Pat Samasco. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Samasco Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
All right, so we're back. So during the break, we did a little checking. USDebtClock.org has running tabs on the debt, the credit card debt, and so forth. And what's the credit card debt right now?
According to U.S. Debt Clock, it's almost at $1.3 trillion.
We're going to get to 1.4 trillion really quickly, which means the
Before the
credit
end
card
of the
debt
show.
will have doubled.
That's
Amazing.
oh, credit card debt doubled in the last umpteen years.
Well, if you
Student
think
loans
about-
doubled.
If you think about it, if interest rates are at 25%, credit card debt is going to go up by 25%
Every year.
automatically.
Yeah,
Without borrowing.
based on the minimum monthly payments only being made by most people.
All right, so I asked you two questions before. What about my credit score? And the second question is, will I be able to get another credit card?
Okay, so what about my credit score? If we're doing debt resolution where we're settling your debts and we negotiate the settlements and we negotiate hard, which is why we get better results than these national companies. We're a law firm, so if you get sued, we represent you in that lawsuit on top of it instead of you having to find independent counsel when you're represented by those national companies. But at the same time,
Wait, I'm going to get sued?
you might, yeah, but it's just an
Is
opportunity.
that part of the program?
It is.
I don't
because-
want to be sued.
But it's part of the
Wait, if I'm
opportunity.
sued, do I have to go to jail?
No, they got rid of debtor's prison at least 2 weeks ago.
People don't realize that. It's just paper.
And it gives me someone to talk to on the other side. And if there's somebody to talk to, there's somebody to negotiate
What
with.
about my credit score?
Credit score. Your credit score will take an immediate hit when you stop paying your credit cards. And it will heal after your debts are settled.
But the other factor is that if you're in the place where you're evaluating, should I file bankruptcy? Am I eligible for debt resolution? Is it a thing? Your credit score is probably in the tank already.
And even if it's not in the tank, wait, it's irrelevant because you can't borrow any more money.
Well, let me give you a hypothetical. I've got $150,000 of credit card debt. I still have $50,000 available credit now, over and above that. And my credit score is still 720. Should I consider debt resolution?
Absolutely, because you're stealing from your retirement.
I thought the question could be, should I borrow more money off my credit card debt?
Well, that was going to be my second question. Should I borrow the $50,000 and then do debt resolution?
You know, I am not a proponent of that, but there are those factions out there that do believe that it's not inappropriate to do that.
That seems what the government's doing.
It is what the government's doing.
But
but you can't print money.
The biggest point, the big point that I kind of wanted to make out of that is the guy who has the $150,000 of credit card debt and still is using the cards and has available credit and hasn't taken a hit on his credit score, he's still burning money. $150,000 of credit card debt is $37,500 a year in interest at 25%. That he's throwing away, and to pay that interest, he's got to be making $60,000 to pay his state and federal taxes to net the $37,500.
And imagine
if he does that for 10
save
years, he's wasted $600,000.
Imagine that if you could save that, you've saved $375,000 in principal over 10 years. And with Pat's skill as a financial advisor, you probably at least double that without even a thought.
You know what the intangible cost is the loss of sleep that this guy has.
Brian's mention of you as a financial advisor and investing that money gets credited to me for my New Year's resolution. Is that understood?
That's fine. You take the credit you want. What we're going to do is get rid of the credit card debt through debt resolution and get people out of debt and get them living within their means. That's the key to all of this, whether it's through Chapter 7, Chapter 13, or debt resolution. You have to get out of debt and do it now.
I 100% agree with you, but I want to just kind of go back to that same guy, the $150,000 credit guy with the credit card debt, who's making $300,000 a year and is managing to make the minimum payments of $4,000 a month, is throwing away his retirement. If you're out there and you're doing that, trust me, you are burning money and throwing away your retirement. You need to stop that. You need to fix it. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.